What we're all about is we're the North American importers of the Zhongshan line of motorcycles, and we've got 3 or 4 bikes that we bring in. One is the RX3, which was the first bike we imported. That's this guy right here. It's a 250cc, liquid-cooled, 6-speed, overhead cam, counterbalanced, fully equipped, windshield bags, guards, the whole 9 yards. That's a fully equipped adventure touring style motorcycle. We bring in the TT250, which is an air-cooled 250cc single-cylinder motorcycle. That's on the other side of our exhibit. We've done very well with that. We bring in the RC3, which is a 250cc sports bike. Has the same liquid-cooled engine as the RX3. And we also are going to be bringing in, starting next year, one we call the Cafe Racer, also the San Gabriel. That's a 250cc bike, low motorcycle. Got I think a 27-inch seat height or something like that. It's really, really compact, and it's quite fast. It's got the same engine as the TT250, which is a simple air-cooled, carbureted, single-cylinder engine. But because this motorcycle is so light, this thing positively rips. When we brought these bikes in, we thought we'd possibly have an inroad. We started with this guy in the adventure touring style market, and we recognized that there was a niche there. Nobody really had a 250 that came fully equipped the way this bike does, and certainly nobody had one with all the accessories and at the price we were able to sell this motorcycle for. So we thought we'd be a big hit in the ADV market. Then what happened, we had kind of an interesting thing. We are attracting new riders, and we attract people who used to ride, got away from it, and said, hey, I want to get back into motorcycling. And for what this motorcycle costs, it's almost a no-brainer. Our bike is basically, if you go on a 7 or 8 day motorcycle tour with one of the tour companies, you're going to spend more money than you would for one of these motorcycles. And when it's all over with those guys, you're not going to get a motorcycle out of the deal. Here you got a motorcycle for less than the price of a motorcycle tour. So our thought was this ADV market, and we hit that. We hit entering riders and re-entering riders, and then we noticed something we hadn't really targeted or anticipated. We started picking up female riders. The bike is a lot more manageable than a 900-pound bike that's got a 37-inch seat height, and all the things that the Uber machines advertise on their ADV style bikes. This is a lot more manageable. So women riders we've done well with. And then we encountered something that surprised us. I would say roughly half of all the people we sell motorcycles to own many motorcycles. And typically the other motorcycle is a BMW or a KTM or a Harley Davidson or something like that. But the big market are guys who are already riding GS BMWs. I bought a GS, but I'm afraid to take it off-road because it's so big and so heavy, I don't think I can control it. The other thing is it's super expensive. And if you drop one of those bikes, you're looking at major dollars in repairs. So they want something they could manage and go off-road with, which is what they originally bought the GS for, but they're afraid to do that. So we get a lot of guys that are GS riders that pick up one of these. Zhongshan had additional models, and when we were over there discussing things with them about the RX3, we saw these other models, and the reaction was, whoa, what is this? The TT250 in particular, we saw that was a 150 as it's marketed in China. And the question was, it's a Honda CG engine, that's a basic block that Honda marketed. They designed it for the South American market because people didn't maintain their motorcycles well, so it was a bulletproof engine that if you didn't do your oil changes, it would keep on running. And that engine over the years has gone from a 125 to a 150 to a 200 to a 250. Actually, it's a 229, but it's sold or marketed as a 250. So we said, we'd like that as a 250. Can you do that? And the guys at Zongshen said, yeah, no problem, we can do that. So that was the extent of our market analysis. We bought that bike in, and we market that, we sell that bike for $21.95. And we can't get them fast enough. Shipments come in, they sell out almost immediately, and then it's a press to get more in. We got another shipment coming in, that ships the end of this month, and we got people lined up waiting to buy those now. The attraction to that for most riders is it's not a KTM. You're not going to go 140 miles an hour, over potholes and logs and things like that. But if you want to go off-ride, it's a real capable bike. And we've done rides in Baja with that bike. And at $21.95, somebody can look at that and say, if I buy it, it doesn't work out at all. I'm out $2,200. But that's not the case. People buy these bikes and they ride the heck out of them. The next one, this guy, very similar story. This is marketed as a 125 in other parts of the world. And when we saw the picture, Zongshen sent the data on it to us and sent a photograph, and they said, would you be interested in that? And our reaction was, yeah, but not as a 125. There's not much of a market for a 125 in the US. We're Americans, bigger, better, etc. In all areas. So we said, if you could put that same CG engine in it, because it's a Honda CG engine, I say a Honda, it's based on the original Honda design. We call it a clone motor. If you put the 250 in this bike, we'd be very interested. And they said, okay, let me talk to our engineers. So they talked to their engineers. A month later, we had a couple of prototypes, 3 prototypes. This is one of them. And we've put a lot of miles on this bike. We get out on them. This bike is actually about 40 pounds lighter than our TT250 with the same engine, and this thing positively rips. Now, I mean, you're not going to win a drag race with a Gixxer or a Prius, for all my dual sport friends out there. You're not going to take one of those on, but for a little 250, man, this thing positively runs. But there's something else that's very different about our company that I think is important to recognize. We don't sell through dealers. We're the importer, and in effect, we are the dealer. If you want a CSC motorcycle, you buy it direct from us. We have some people that get their shorts in a knot when they hear it, say, oh, I gotta have a dealer. Well, if you gotta have a $1,500 setup and freight fee, if you gotta get gouged on the MSRP, if the dealer's gonna drop that $1,500 setup and freight down to $1,100 and try to convince you you're really getting the deal of the century, we're not your company. Basically, we charge approximately $300 to $350 freight if you're outside California. If you pick the bike up at our facility in California, a lot of people fly in and do that. There's no freight. There's an inexpensive documentation fee. We have a $150 fee to put it in a crate, but it's fully assembled with the exception of the mirrors and the windshield and the top case. You got to put those on yourself. Now, the next question then is, what about routine maintenance? Well, we go beyond routine maintenance. Everybody that buys a motorcycle gets a shop manual for free. The shop manual's outstanding. You might say, well, how can you say it's outstanding? Very easy. I wrote it. I went through all the things you need to do to maintain one of these motorcycles, not just routine maintenance. With the technicians in our service department, we extensively photo documented it, and we have online tutorials on about 50 different topics on our different motorcycles. So anything you need to do, almost anything. I mean, we don't do how to replace the crankshaft. We don't take it that far. But basically all the things that would ordinarily be in a shop manual, not an owner's manual, but a shop manual, are online, plus they're in the shop manual. And we encourage people to do their own maintenance. You're not going to have things like a $1,000 valve adjustment that you get with some of the other marks that are out there. A valve adjustment on this motorcycle is free. Basically, it's not free if we do it, we'll charge you for it. But it's in the online tutorials and it's in the shop manual. We walk you through exactly what you need to do to adjust your valves, to replace your clutch, to change your oil, to replace a chain, whatever you need to do, we've got it covered. We maintain an inventory of every single part that goes to any of our motorcycles. If we wanted to, we could assemble a complete motorcycle in our facility. We're not going to do that, but we have never had a situation where someone wants to buy a part and we don't have it. We stock everything. Then the next question, and this is the the battle of wits we get into with some of the people on the internet. Well, yeah, you know, a lot of people say that, but then they bring them in and they go out of business next week, you know. Well, our company is CSC Motorcycles. We've been in business for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now with other kinds of motorcycles. The parent corporation is Pro One Performance Manufacturing. That company has been in business for 30 years, building V-twin accessories and custom V-twin motorcycles. We've been here for decades. We're not going anywhere. They don't have to talk to a human being if they don't want to. They go online and there's a buy now button. There's an online credit app. If you want to apply for credit, you can do that. And we sell a lot of bikes without ever talking to people until it's time to coordinate the shipping to get it to them. Or they could call in and buy them, whatever, or they could stop by and buy them, whatever you prefer. The only thing you have to do when the bike is shipped, we almost fully assemble them. We put them in a crate that we've designed. It comes delivered in your driveway. The only thing you have to do is you have to put the windshield on, you have to put, pardon me, the mirrors on, and you have to put this top case on. That's it. It's even got a little bit of gas in the tank. You can literally start it right up. You don't have to put ass in the battery. You don't have to put oil. It's ready to roll. On this motorcycle, it's 2 years unlimited mileage. The first year is parts and labor. The second year is parts only. On the TT250, because we didn't really have a feel for it, it's so inexpensive to begin with, it's 1 year unlimited mileage. I should also point out, we've got guys that have got tens of thousands of miles on this. We've sold some of them to rental companies in Alaska and here in Southern California, and they're telling us on their bikes they have 40,000 miles on them now.